Oh boy. Hey, it's Nagao here, we're back with Katawa Shoujo. And that last part, those last few parts I think, I don't know. Depending on the way I cut it, I guess. Ugh, those were really big. As you can see, we have another act. We're on this one, not this one anymore. I don't think I'm ready for this. The day of Hanako's birthday is finally here. Dude, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. To be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing Hanako and Lily in their pajamas again. Hanako's gown has grown on me, looking rather cute, though a bit conservative, and Lily's shorts, her thin silken top, are a lovely combination. But the event is stained a little with the memory of Hanako's reaction to it. I still don't really understand what happened, only being able to vaguely guess at the possible reasons for it. But I don't think finding the answer will be straightforward, as asking her. With that in mind, I knock on the door next to Hanako's. Is that you, Sal? Yeah, it's me. I can hear the pitter-patter of footsteps coming to the door, followed by the sound of the lock snapping open. I don't think I've ever seen Lily's door locked before, and it makes me a little suspicious. Once the door is open, the sight is a little underwhelming for a birthday party. Wow, Lily, again, look, you only have tea for yourself here. You didn't even give the birthday girl anything. Hanako returns to her seat at the table with a quick smile and a nod, leaving me to close and assume they wanted it to be kept that way. Lock the door. As I do so, I realize the scene before me is that of an evening tea party. Just like any other between the two, somehow, I don't think I should be surprised. To my relief, Naoko looks relatively calm. The break from the class has probably done her good and given her time to wind down a bit. I take a seat between the two at the low table in the center of Lily's room, the brightly colored teapot steaming away between us. A tall brown bag close by Lily's side catches my attention. I covertly try to glance inside it a couple times, but can't get a look from here. Looking to Hanako, it seems like she's as curious about it as I am. Hey Lily. Lily finishes off the teacup raised to her lips before setting it down and giving me her attention. Yes? I was just wondering about that brown bag. She paused for a moment, then gives a slightly cheeky smile. That would be Akira's present. Unfortunately, she said she was working and can't join us. Lily leans over and feels out the items inside before raising her arm. I raise an eyebrow as two items, not one, rise from the bag. The glass nets are grasped by Lily on either side of her middle finger. So this is what she had her door locked. This is why she had her door locked. Wine. There are two small thuds as the bottles are brought to the rest on the table. One white, one red, one white. I want to believe that it's fake, non-alcoholic wine. But if it was, there wouldn't be any need for this circumspect, I don't know. Circumspect, oh whatever. Alcohol? Seriously? Are you sure this is a good idea? Lily smiles politely and giggles. I'm not really convinced that she is. These would be the present for my sister. I know it's a bit questionable, but a little shouldn't hurt. If Lily took serious issue with it, I don't think she'd have agreed quite so easily. That aside, I had Akira. squared as a serious and responsible type. Maybe like an older Lily, but it looks like I was wrong. We aren't even legally able to drink yet. Well, in that case, I won't complain. They don't look bad either. I'm no connoisseur, but at least the bottles look nice. Apart from this surreptitious glass of wine or two given from my father at family dinners, I haven't really had enough to know what's what. That, and I can't really say that I'm not totally straight edge. Going by Hanako's expression, she's thinking the same. And it's her birthday anyway. Shall I open one? Sure, I'll get some. My heart skips as I hear 3 sharp bangs coming from Lily's door. Hanako's head flicks around and Lily's eyes close as she listens intently. None of us want to be busted for this. Who is it? Let me in, I'm cold. Lily's lets out a resigned sigh before motioning for Hanako to open the door. She obediently gets up and fusses with her gown before moving. Apparently, still not quite sure who it is, but trusting enough in Lily to do as she requests. I can just see a blonde, dark-shaded figure become visible over Hanako's shoulder as she opens the door. Happy birthday, Hanako! Thank you, Akira. Hanako gives a small bow while twiddling her fingers in front of her. So this is Lily's elusive sister. Akira follows Hanako to the table after shutting the door behind her, giving me plenty of time to have a good look at her. She looks to be about the same height as Hanako, and has short blonde hair that's quite roughly cut. That, in addition to her rather modest breasts, masculine suit, and deep voice, gives her quite an androgyne. Without further ado, she plops herself down on the side of the table, across from me. It's nice to have you company after all, Akira. Did work let you off? Yep. I have to go back there in a bit, but I managed to get enough of a break to drive down. So, this would be a sow then. I don't know what voice to give her, even though I don't really give them that many voice. That strong of a voice. A confident smile gets thrown in my direction, so I nod politely in return, considering that she just jumped straight for her, using my first name. She's much more informal than her appearance would suggest. Wait, she already knows who I am, and that must mean Lily's talked about me with her. I wonder what she said. Sorry for not introducing you, Asao. This is Akira Sato, my elder sister. I see. Nice to meet you. The person is quite in question loudly claps her hands together, making Hanako jump a little bit. Akira notices this and looks uneasy for a fraction of a second before getting back into her stride. Only now do I realize that Akira hasn't paid Hanako's scars any undue attention. Hanako also seems to be comfortable, if not exactly relaxed around Akira. Well then, I assume the presents got through. Not point in waiting, considering Asao and the birthday girl look like they're pretty eager. Lily giggles as I awkwardly turn away, a little embarrassed by the fact that I can hide my interest. Hanako's eyes are telling me that she wants to try the wine together with me. So I settle for only a badly feigned indifference. Akira manages to uncork the first bottle with a small effort, and Hanako goes to get some glasses before I get to pour the four of them full of white wine. I heard somewhere that the white wine has less alcohol than red wine, so I think it would be the best to start with. Here's to Hanako and to Lily Strip. Cheers! Cheers! After the traditional raising of the glass, we all take a sip of the pale yellow liquid. It's not like the stuff I've had with my parents, with the fruitiness of the flavor almost entirely hiding the taste of alcohol. Maybe this is what the proper wine is supposed to taste like. But again, it's possible that Akira just chose wine which could be suited to our tastes, since none of us are used to alcohol yet. Or at least, I hope none of us are. This isn't too bad. I was expecting something harsher. If you hadn't liked expected. I had few other varieties you could have chosen from. You sound like you know your stuff when it comes to wines. Only a bit. I'm more of a beer kind of person. I have the drinking side down pat, though. As if to prove her point, she refills her glass before bringing it to her lips and flicking her head back. Oh. Hanako and I slightly watch as the whole glassful disappears down Akira's throat. I can't decide whether to be impressed or put off, but I certainly don't have any urge to imitate the act. Lily grimaces slightly at her sister's boast. I note that she's sipping from her glass as she does so, though. Anyway, now that Akira's gift has been opened and sampled, shall we move on to ours? Yes. Gifts? That's right. We got you presents. It's your birthday after all. This is from me. Hanako pulls out the carefully wrapped doll from under the table and passes it to Hanako. Hanako handles the present as if it was glassware, carefully turning it over to remove the tape that binds the wrapping. Eventually, the paper falls from the door, revealing the emerald green of the doll's dress. It's beautiful. I'm not sure what reaction I was expecting from Hanako. The near total lack of dolls in her room made me think that she didn't care about them. But the look in her eyes now is something different. She turns the doll around with the same delicacy she afforded the wrapping, as if she was expecting it to fall apart in her hands. I'm glad that you like it. Sal picked it out, to be honest. Hanako suddenly remembers that she's not alone in the room and shifts her focus from the doll. Yes, I like it. Thank you, Lily. And Sal? Actually, I got you something else. I reached into my bag and removed the wrapped chess set. Here, happy birthday. Hanako carefully sits the Lily's doll next to her and opens my present with the same care that she showed Lily's. Before long, the checkered squares of the chessboard are visible, and Hanako gently runs her fingers across the carved surfaces. Oh! Almost by accident, she triggers the catch of the lid, startling herself in the process. She opens it and retrieves one of the gray pieces. She seems as absorbed in the chess piece as she was in the doll before. They're coral, natural coral, undyed, or so I'm told. Thank you, Hisao. No problem. It's your birthday after all. That's right. My birthday. Once again, Hanako's reaction seems a little off, but she carefully closes the board lid. I notice Akira's smiling begins to look very strained. I wonder if she knows anything about what happened in class, given that she seems to be treading on eggshells around Hanako. I'll have to play you again sometime. I'll make sure I'll play you first. She takes the doll she received from Millie and holds it to her chest together with a small chessboard, putting the piece on top. The act to settle her down somewhat, and we just sit in silence for a while. God, she's so cute. She's so adorable. It does sort of look like Lily, though. I think it's one of the few times I've seen her genuinely happy, cradling the friendship of two people to her chest as tightly as she can. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Hisao. In the process of thanking us, Hanako drops the chess piece and fumbles a bit in her rush to retrieve it. When she finds it, Hanako puts the chess set down and nervously gulps at her wine. It's as if the real world suddenly rushed back into her consciousness and her fastest escape from it was in wine, in the glass. Hey, easy there. You shouldn't drink it that fast. It is a party, Hisao. Besides saying that, there's a slightly concerned edge to her voice. Eventually, acquiescing, Lily proceeds to follow Hanako's lead, though not as eagerly. She looks to be taking small sips from her glass and letting the wine settle on her tongue before swallowing. I decide that is probably the best approach to do the same myself. Since this is a going away party for you as well, I hope you enjoy your trip at least a little, Lily. Hopefully your aunt will be okay. I hope your aunt is okay too, Lily. Lily and I are slightly taken back by Hanako's fervor, to which Lily, well, despite her own familiar situation, I'm a little impressed. My, thank you both. I'll be sure to convey your thoughts to my family when I meet them. It'll all be fine in the end, Lily. Don't worry about it. Since the room's mood had become noticeably more sullen, I decided to try and move things along. Well then, shall we start on the cake? My attentiveness suggests has intended effect. Everyone lining up considerably. Yes, please. Cake? I didn't know there was any cake. I picked one up before I came, along with some snacks. Well done, Miss Hal. At least one of us remembered to bring one. Everyone seems to welcome the distraction, so I retrieve the cake from my bag and start cutting it up. Mixing wine and chocolate cake isn't something that I thought would work well, but none of us seem to mind. Conversation is temporarily suspended as we start to eat. I was initially wary of the idea after Hanako's panic attack. I expected the worst from tonight, but I think Lily's idea of giving her good memories of her birthday is working. That, and also having it shared with her going away party. From Hanako's reaction to her gifts, I can tell she was really appreciative. Hanako tries to pour herself another glass of wine, but ends up spilling some on the table. She has a couple by now, so considering that she never had alcohol before. It's no wonder if she's feeling a bit lightheaded. Sorry, Lily. I didn't mean to make a mess, Don't worry, I've got it. Lily reaches sideways and gently takes the flushing Hanako in her arms, giving me a pause. It's okay, Lily. I'm just happy. It's okay, Hanako. I'm just happy you're here. Hanako gives only a faint nod in response. It's fitting, I suppose, that Lily would be the one to support her like this. I have no idea what Hanako would be like if she hadn't. Seeing the two like this makes me appreciate the fact that I'm privy to such an intimate moment. Even Akira can't help but smile at the sight. I never would have thought I'd manage to find new friends so quickly, and I'm all more thankful that of all the people, these two I befriended. They slowly break off from one another, Hanako regaining herself somewhat, while I quickly get myself back on task. I find a towel among Lily's tea set and start mopping up the spillage. By the time I finish, however, Hanako and Lily have managed to uncork some other bottle and have topped off their glasses. Oh, they're getting wasted. Looks like you're enjoying the wine, then. Just don't go too crazy with it after this, mind. We all dutifully nod and agree, but her reminder feels a bit silly given that she's the one supplying underage people with alcohol. Ooh. The second glass of wine goes down a little quicker than the first. And before any of us notice, the second bottle is empty. While Akira is helping us finish them off, Hanako looks to be almost equaling her in the amount that she's had. Dude, she's wasted. They're wasted. My head feels a little light, but I think I've managed to gauge my own tolerance surprisingly well. Hanako seems lazily toying with her doll's hair. I think it's pretty safe to bet that she hasn't moderated herself as well as I. I don't think it was Hanako's intention to get drunk, but it seems that the alcohol had hit her all at once. She has a very light frame, something which won't help her handle her moods well either. Lily cradles her glass, running a finger around the rim. Her cheeks as rosy, but she's managing to avoid looking woefully drunk. Akira is, as I somewhat expected, largely unaffected. Her smile might be a little wider than before, though, maybe. Hanako hiccups and accidentally knocks over the doll. I think I should maybe go to bed. Thank you, Hisao. Thanks, Lily. And, Akira... She slurs Akira's name pretty hard, barely avoiding breaking out into a giggling way. She's completely plastered, and I can't decide whether I should feel a little bad or not for being amused at the state she's in. It really is bizarre to see her acting so carefree. A shame that it's only with the help of the alcohol. Here, let me give you a hand. Akira begins to get up to help Hanako out, but she stopped when Lily gives a sharp cough. Sal, would you please? Akira looks a little surprised, and I have to admit that I am as well too. I don't mind the request at all, let alone when it's said with such a smile. It just comes rather unexpectedly. Sure, no problem. Oh my god, look at her face. I pick up the chess set and help Hanako stand up. I do feel somewhat responsible for her, considering that, other than Akira, I'm probably the most sober person in the room. She nurses the doll in one hand and offers me the other. Dude, oh. Transitions. We stumble out of the door, into the hallway, and into Hanako's room. Hanako bumping into me a number of times on the way. Inside the room, I flicked on the light as Hanako turned her attention towards a shelf on her dresser. An elegant doll is sitting on it, staring into the bare room. There you go. You'll be safe here. Hanako gingerly places the doll next to the other one and straightens its dress. They sit in silence. Hair and clothes are perfectly arranged, just like the teapot in Lily's room. They serve as a distinct contrast to the dull white gray that permeate her bedroom. Satisfied that her dolls, her only two real possessions, are safe, Hanako takes a step back and stands up, staggering severely. I step forward to catch her if need be, but she regains her balance without any help. For a while, both of us stand in the silence as Hanako looks downward toward the cupboard. After a minute or two, she begins to sway a little from side to side. It's very off-putting. Are you going to be alright? Hanako raises her head and turns around to me as if she only just remembered that I'm also in the room. What's unexpected is that she takes 2 steps forward towards me and wraps her arms around my body, her head coming to rest against my chest. I can feel my heart beating as well. All my senses feel like they're coming alive again, after deadening through the previous drinking. Though the smell of wine on her breath, the feeling of her fingers through my clothing, the scent of her hair underneath my chin. My hands remain out in front of me, not daring to touch her. The temptation is there to hug her, to embrace her, to tell her everything will be fine. But this feels wrong. Really, really wrong. Hanako. But I want to stay with you and Lily. Hanako's slurring reminds me a bit of Misha. She probably wouldn't be pleased to hear that. You know I can't. You're a girl and I'm a guy, after all, and Lily needs to sleep. Oh, look at that expression. She gives a disappointing groan. It's so strange for her to act so forward. Don't worry. I'll see you again tomorrow, okay? If you're not hungover. I decided to rest a hand on her head to reassure her, deciding that this is as far as I'll allow myself to go in terms of physical contact with her while she's in the state. Hanako's head nuzzles against my chest. It makes me feel all more uneasy with the situation, and as her arms tighten around my back, I quickly decide to bail out. I rest my hand on my shoulder as if to give firm but gentle push. Her grip tightens a little as I do so, but eventually she breaks off. I don't want you to go. Hanako, please. Akira and Lily are gonna start thinking weird stuff if I take you too long here. It's perfectly true too. I really don't want to take any chances, and I feel very uncomfortable right now. I shouldn't try to read anything into the way she's acting right now. But I read that aside from alcohol lowering inhibition, people can react to getting drunk in many different ways that don't necessarily reflect reality. That doesn't mean that she's the same as those people. And even without that, there are plenty of ways to interpret what she's saying, as long as she's safe. I'm gonna try to get out of her room as soon as possible. Hanako hiccups again, looking a right mess as she stands and looks downcast in the center of the room. Her personality changed as she drank more and more, and all alone in her room with me, her previous brightness seems to have left her. Was she just acting upbeat to make sure we didn't worry? Even if she was, what could I possibly do for her, since I do exactly the same thing in regard to my own condition? Distancing myself from my thoughts, I eventually managed to coral Hanako towards her bed. There were attempts to tame the wild sheets on it and end up accomplishing little. Sorry about tonight, Hanako. I know you probably won't remember any of this, but happy birthday. I'm sorry I couldn't do more for you. She looks up at me for a moment, and I have no idea what I said actually got through to her. But any chance to ask is lost as her eyes peacefully close. I sigh her to leave before quietly backing away from her and leaving the room, flicking the light switch off as they go. I hesitate a little before opening the door to Lily's room again, quickly rehearsing what I should say if I get questioned about Hanako. After a few seconds, I still can't come up with anything. I open the door to make sure to close it behind me, lest any passing students catch a glimpse of the wine, before turning my attention to the two girls at the low table. Akira casually smiling as is Lily. I welcome the change from the mood in Hanako's room. Is that you, Asao? Yeah, I got Hanako to her bed. She's sleeping now. That's good. I have to admit, I hadn't thought she'd drink quite so much. Hey, it's fine. She's all safe and tucked up in bed now, with the way she is. She awkwardly trails off, though Lily and I would hardly protest. For someone so anxious and fearful, drinking would get given an easy out from those constant feelings. I wish I could do more for her. I feel useless. Did you lay her on her side? Just in case, you know, you never know if you're gonna throw it up and drown. Looking at Lily, I think back to what I asked myself in town. My relationship with her is that of a friend and has only ever felt that way. But now I think I know why. Lily's been there for both Hanako and me since I first met her, but she's like that for everyone, trying to do her best to make them feel better. With that in mind, then what's the bond between me and Hanako? After rescuing our relationship following the panic attack I inadvertently triggered during class, I feel like we're back to being friends, but she's on my mind more and more. I can't say I view any other girl in quite the same way. Maybe it's just normal reaction to someone acting like this. Say, Akira. She yawns before looking at me, it is getting pretty late. You know about what happened with Hanako, don't you? Yeah, Lily told me. I negotiated pretty hard for a break so I could come down and make her birthday a bit brighter. We get along pretty well. Surprising to hear that from someone as extroverted as her. But if Hanako came to know her through Lily, Maybe she had time to get used to Akira. And on that note, I better get going. I'm already going to be a bit late as it is. But it's already so late. Zara, we got a bunch of work dropped on us. So overtime it is. So overtime what? Okay, whatever. She levers herself up with a grunt and heads past me towards the door. Just before she leaves, she turns back towards us. You haven't forgotten about the same time for the flight, all the rest. Don't worry, I have everything ready. It's just a matter of packing when it gets closer to the time to leave. Atta girl. I'll see you guys later then. And with that, she disappears through the door with her hand held high in farewell. Your sister is something alright. I probably should have thought that comment through before saying it. Regardless, Lily seems quite amused at my reprisal. Are you okay after all that drinking? Not wasted and just hiding it well? I assure you, I'm quite alright. I can moderate myself. You seem quite self-possessed as well, if I do say so myself. Yeah, well, I guess your moderation applies to me as well. With a little hesitation, I take a seat at the table in front of Lily. I want to address this directly, if no other reason, than to settle my own thoughts. Here we go. I've been meaning to ask this, but it took me a while to make up my mind. Do you have any idea about what triggered the panic attack? I gathered it was something to do with her birthday, but I don't know anything more. Even Akira was being careful around her, so I assume she knows as well. Lily smiles drops the gaiety of the birthday party now well and truly over. To be honest, I'm not sure of the details myself. Hanako told you that she was in the house fire. She told me as much after we met and spent a lot of time together. Other than that, she's quite simply never told me. She never told you. Assuming the worst, what did she have to look back upon? A life of isolation and possibly even the death of her family? Maybe even going as far as blaming her existence for their deaths. Even in thinking about what little I know of Hanako's past is bleak. To have lived through all that, and to live on with those memories, much more infinitely worse. Lily looked similarly depressed, but I can see her rebuild at least some of her composure before my eyes. I get the feeling that both of us are talking more frankly than we might otherwise do, thanks to the wine. Feels like just talking this out is a good thing anyway. I feel kind of helpless about it when it's put like that. What can I possibly do for her? I'm not wholly sure I should tell you this, but Hanako told me that you visited her the day after we both went to check on her. I must admit that I did not predict that she would take such a step so quickly after what happened, nor did I expect you to. I think it was a nice gesture on your part. It wasn't much really. It's just, at times like this, I sometimes think it would be better if you never had to leave Yamaku, or at least this town. Things are so much easier with others around. I didn't expect Lily to look quite so troubled at what I say, and for a while she looks lost in thought. She moves to speak but stops herself as soon as she does, and rethinks it a bit off-putting. I think... Tell me, do you have anything planned on Friday evening? Friday evening? No. Isn't your flight to Scotland the next day? I don't think it would be a good idea to tire yourself out before you even get there. I'll be alright. You needn't worry about me. I do this tomorrow tomorrow evening, but I imagine Hanako will be feeling rather off for a while. The thought of how she's gonna be tomorrow makes me grimace. Maybe we should count our blessings that she didn't end up simply throwing up from drinking so much while having such a low tolerance. Well, I'm going to be able to attend whatever you're planning. What is it? Nothing unusual, I assure you. Just a little excursion. And you better be off, Isao. I can't imagine it's long at all until curfew is here. Oh damn, curfew. I'd completely forgotten. I look at the clock next to the Lily, but it seems that it should be oddity without Rin numerals, which I suppose makes sense given Lily's condition. Not wanting to risk a haughty security patrol giving me a scolding, I get up to decide to go to my dorm as she says. Well then, I guess I'll see you and Hanako tomorrow, assuming both of you manage to get up in the morning. Sally probably won't even get up. I know you. I know you. Thank you for your concern, Sal. Until then. They're probably all gonna get like freaking hangovers or something. With that, I make my way out of their door into the hallway. I hope our idea will be a good one. They should probably like drink water. Drink lots of water actually. Yeah, drink all the water. Drink every water. Drink all of it. Drink all the water.